Namaste everyone, welcome to Advaita Vedanta Satsang House. The ongoing sessions are on Bhagavad Gita from an Advaita perspective offered by Bindoji. We're on chapter 5, room number 15. All the earlier rooms are available as replays in Clubhouse or they are well catalogued in the YouTube channel called Advaita Retold. The link is shared in the chat. There are also links to Apple and Spotify repositories that are available, not just Bhagavad Gita, but even the earlier sessions on Avarokshanubhuti and Upanishads and a few others. A companion book also has been published by Artemisia titled Imaginary Door, based on Bindoji's insights into Advaita. And it's a good companion material to read. It's available on Amazon and you can access them, the links shared in the chat. For housekeeping, I'll close the chat and hand raising when Bindoji is offering the class, after which we'll open up those channels for any questions, answers, or any clarifications. As always, thank you, Bindoji. Over to you.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you. Namaste, Artemisia, and Hari Om to all of you. My invocations. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loga Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutravashi Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavatyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The Gita Dhyana Shlokam. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvandi Divyai Stavai Vedai Sangapadakramो Panishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgadena Manasa Pasyanti Yam Yogino Yasyandam na vidussura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. Oh. We are almost concluding the 5th chapter. Just few verses left. In the concluding verse yesterday, we saw that ye hi samsparshaja bhogaha dukkayonayah evate adyantavanda kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Nateshu ramate buddha. That is, Buddha, the intelligent one, nateshu ramate, is never indulging in it. What? Which are that they are not indulging in it? Samsparshaja bhogaha. Sparsha means contact. Samsparsha means, extremely identifying or contacting. And there is a connection between the contact and bhoga as called as ja. Sansparsha ja means born out of contact. Now, what is born out of contact for the sense organs? The sense objects. But how are they born out of sense organs? See, sometimes what happens is that we do not take the, in-depth meaning of certain words, whether it is in English our local vernacular language or any language for that matter, the words have got unique capacity to take beyond what is apparent or what is literal. Krishna has not left in this verse and the next verse his skill and expertise in pinpointing to the exact intent with which he is talking about. So he has used the word connecting bhogaha, which are enjoyments, with samsparsha ja. The word ja means born out of contact. Now it may look what is the great in it. The object per se has no control over us. They are there everywhere. All experiences all over the world, whenever our sense organs, Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha, all of them, when they are in contact with the world outside, it doesn't become an enjoyment. They are mere contacts or experiences. That experience to become a object of enjoyment or repulsion has to be not in the object, but in the subject who is contacting the object, because the enjoyment is in the subject. So the object which is there outside should not be blamed. And people often, all those yogis or samis or ascetics or karma yogi, all of them, they try to avoid the contact of the objects by physically staying away from the proximity of the objects. But when Krishna used the word samsparshaja bhoga, he is telling us something much more deeper. Because in the second line, he used the word Buddha, Buddha. Buddha na teshu ramate. The intelligent person, the Buddha means the intelligent ones, do not relish or enjoy in that. So now when we connect between these two, it becomes very clear picture that what Krishna is wanting us to learn from this statement of his. He is saying that objects per se has been created for the purpose for the creation. They are by default neither good, bad or ugly. They are what they are for. They will continue to perform their duties, swadharma. But that object becomes a matter of enjoyment or a source of enjoyment when the contact is with unintelligent mind. Think about it. When we do not think our experiences, our contact with the sense objects eyes cannot contact sound. So only ears can contact. So ears will always get in touch with sound. Whenever sound is produced, the ear will hear it. But that becomes liked or disliked by us. Not because the sound by itself is good or bad, but the way in which we interpret or we understand it. This understanding or interpretation of us, if it is not with the Buddha, with the intelligence, buddhi, sthira buddhi, in the previous verse he has used established intellect or established mind. If it is not established, but a wavering mind, a same object which was giving happiness can be turned into an object of hatred by us because we have not established the mind in the place where it is supposed to be established. In the knowledge or in the knowledge of the self or the reality as that who we are. So if the mind is now thinking that we are a human being and the senses of the human being are for enjoyment, the objects will become enjoyable. But when my same mind now decides that this enjoyment is enough, I don't want it more or I don't like it anymore, the object has not changed, the contact has not changed. The wavering or the disparity or the condition of the mind has changed. Therefore, the object becomes unwanted, repulsive, or hatred by us. Only when we are established in the right knowledge as to what we are or who we are, this mind which is now wavering will not be located as a receiver or a expectation holder for the sense enjoyments and hatred, etc. It will be turned inward. This is the word which is avrita chakshu. It will be turned inward means not looking for objects outside, but looking for the reality of the subject itself, which is Atman or Brahma. When this happens, that person is called a Buddha, an intelligent person. And they, na teshu ramate, they are not engaging themselves for enjoyment in the world of objects outside. They don't take delight in it. Because in the previous verse, Krishna said that Atma Sugam Akshayam Ashnute. That mind which was till now engaged in the enjoyment of the world of objects outside through the contact of the sense organs is now enjoying the Akshayam Sukham, imperishable happiness or the eternal happiness, the Purnatvam or the completeness of Atma. Now, the happiness of Atma is something which is not familiar to us. We think we do not know about it. And therefore, for us, the term enjoyment, delight or sukham is what is generated out of the contact of the sense organs. That is why it is samsparshaja, the word used by Krishna. But for a contact of the sense organ with the sense object, the mind, sense organ and the object should be illumined or made available in the light of consciousness of Atma. We forget about it or we do not know about it. So what we think is that I am the mind, is now the ego mind which is thinking it has got an independent existence associated with the body mind intellect complex. Therefore I am the ego, I become the ego. That I, which is now associating itself with the body mind complex, is the individual which we are thinking we are, but we are not that. That same I, which is identifying with the body mind intellect complex to enjoy the world outside. When I am saying enjoy, you have to take the enjoyment and the opposite of it. That same I, which is now thinking that I am Bindo, I am Venkat, I am Atmisha, I am Prakash, or I am Kritat, or whoever it may be that. Because we are associating ourselves with the body, mind, intellect and enjoying the world of objects outside. But the I, the expression of I is not that of the mind or the intellect. The true I is that of Atma. That Atma, when it is illumining the mind becomes illumined. Mind means Antakarana, basically. Mind, intellect, both you have to take it into one as Antakarana becomes illumined. And that Antakarana or the inner instrument now having located inside the physicality of the body associates itself with the body thinking I am Bindu or I am Prakash. It is just like the space inside a room is experiencing the size, conditions, heat or cold or smell or bad smell, everything of that room as its own. But space was never conditioned by the size of the room, condition of the room, nor of any nature of the room. It is the same space which is there inside and outside. This association creates the identity that space is now a home or an office or a hospital or a school, etc. The names like Bindu, Prakash, Atmisha, etc. is similar to the room calling it is a house, school, office or hospital, etc. The space has nothing to do with it. We are interacting with that. Same way, the same Atma, which is Sarvagata, it is everywhere. It is in consciousness or awareness or Satchitananda Swarupa. Everything is existing, in existence itself. The fundamental nature of existence, in that when an appearance of a limitation comes, like a office or a home, we call it as office or home, same way, the same consciousness when it is associating with our antakarana, I become Bindo, you become whatever your name or the nature of your body is. Thereafter, it is that antakarana which is now functioning as Bindo, Prakash, Atmisha or Kritarth or Venkat or etc. But when Krishna said that, Sa Brahma Yoga Yukta Atma Sukham Akshayam Asnute, in the previous verse, 21st verse, Brahma Yoga Yukta Atma, a word was used by Krishna in the verse. The same individual who now thinks Bindo or Atma, Atmisha or Prakash or Venkat, when we are Yukta means joined or identified. Yoga Yukta, by the association. See, there the yoga word, we have to take it as that of the antakarana joining the consciousness or illumining the consciousness in the antakarana. When it knows that illumination in the antakarana or the potency of the antakarana or the capacity of the antakarana, mind and intellect, is of Brahma or Atma. When I use word Brahma, Atma, it's just identical, one and the same. Therefore, the word Brahma in the beginning and Atma in the end, and the connection in between by Yoga Yukta. The individual, the Atma is the individual, is now identifying itself with the totality of the consciousness which is Brahma. Just like the sun, when it was shining, it doesn't shine one object. Every object which we are seeing in the day, in the light of the day, every object is nothing but a light reflected by the sun. I am calling it as a tree, a house, etc. But the tree and the house, etc., is illumined in the sunlight. What I am perceiving, experience is the sunlight. My eye is not contacting the tree or the building. My eye is in touch with the sunlight reflected from the tree or the building. But our feeling is that I am experiencing it. I am seeing a tree. I am seeing a building. But what is being seen is the sunlight. But our experience is that we are seeing a tree or a building. Same way, every experience when it is in consciousness for the individual, for the Atma, individual Atma, is because it is in unison with the consciousness of Brahma, in which everything is appearing. So Brahma Yoga Yuktatma is such a person, is indicating to such a person who has now realized that all this is Brahman, Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma, including me. So Aham Brahmasmi. That experience is what is being known to the person. Therefore, he is experiencing Akshayam Sukham. He is having that non-diverse happiness which is of consciousness and not of the objects, because objects per se by default are multifarious in condition. They are appearing to be multi in nature. Just like the tree and the building are all definitely different. In the light of the sun, they are seen as separate. But the light which is falling from the tree to my eye and the light which is falling from the building to my eye is nothing but the sunlight. You may call it as reflected light. Same way, when I know that it is one and the same sunlight which is being experienced by my eye, whether I am looking at a tree, a building, or a dog, or a flower, and I am able to appreciate the potency of the sunlight, the condition of the sunlight, the agency of the sunlight, or the nature of the sunlight, for me to have the experience of light through my eyes, I am transcending the limitations or the conditions of the tree, building, dog, or the flower, etc. That light is what is called Akshayam, which do not decay. The sunlight never decays. It is the same potency, whether it is reflected from a tree or a building or a dog or a flower. Same way, the consciousness in which appearances are being seen, the consciousness is not diminishing, is not having a variation. They are one and the same all the time, whether we are in the waking, dream, or deep sleep. The awareness is the same. One who knows this, such a person is called the Buddha. The person, the one who has a viveka or a knowledge, an intelligent person. He is not enjoying the variation of the objects in the consciousness, but he is remaining ever established in that purity and the continuity and the infinity of the consciousness. If this is understood, the next verse will be much easier for us to understand. Krishna starts here also, the first first few words, with a promise or an assurance. Shaknodi iha eva yaha sodum prak sharira vimokshanat kama krododbhavam vegam sa yuktaha sa sukhi naraha. He is defining now the nature of a person who has a clarity of understanding. But he starts with a promise. Shaknoti. The Sanskrit word Shaknoti means it is possible or it can, or that is possible for such a person. Prak Sharira Vimokshanat. That is a compound word. Prak means before. Vimokshanat means liberating or abandoning. What? Sharira. Before abandoning this mortal body itself, it is possible. Where? Iha eva. Here and now. If you remember that mantra from Upanishad, Iha cheda vedi atasatyamasti, na cheti ha vedi mahati vinashti. It will be a great calamity if you don't realize it here and now. That is being reminded by Krishna when he said, Shaknoti iha eva. It's possible here and now, this very moment. Before you abandon your body, you don't know. The next moment may be the last moment in your life if you leave this body. But Krishna is saying that Prak means before you drop dead. It is possible, Shaknoti. Here now, here itself. Yaha sodum kama krodod pavam vegam. That means one who is capable of what you call abandoning, or the real meaning of the word sodum is to bear, to endure, to endure without becoming overcome, etc. But one who is able to withstand the vegam. Vegam means actually speed or force of movement, or the great force with which Krama Krodha Udbhavam, the forces of Kama and Krodha. Because if you are depend upon your in the Andakarana and driven towards the contact of the weight objects with the ignorance that they are independent and separate, they are the one which is giving me happiness and sorrow, you will be driven to have kama for enjoyment, and if it is rejected, you will have krodha. And Udbhavam, born out of that, there will be a tremendous force for you to react or to get attracted to the world of objects outside, not knowing the source of happiness is from very within ourselves. The moment you can realize that, by understanding or knowing that this force of the likes and dislike from the world outside is not because they are liked and disliked outside, but because of my ignorance, I feel they are the one which is attractive and repulsive. They are there only because the Atma is shining them, or the Brahma, it is there in the consciousness of Brahman, or in the light of Brahman or Atman. My mind is able to actuate the sense organs and see them existing. Their existence and their awareness is in that awareness of mine alone. When I am there, they are there. When I am not there in the waking or the dream and I am in the deep sleep, I do not know where they are. They do not exist for me. So yes, Saknoti iha eva. Here now itself we can realize it before our body drops dead. That all these Kama and Krodha are coming out of my ignorance of creating a world outside as real and existing, not realizing that their existence and reality is dependent upon my own nature or Atma. Not the Andakarana. The Andakarana itself came into existence only when I decided, or the Atma decided, to shine upon the Andakarana. We have to now look from the state of deep sleep when the Andakarana was not present. The world of objects of waking or the dream or the world individuality or everything was not present. But the moment the Brahman or Atman starts illumining the Andakarana, the individuality was born. The individuality now senses through the sense organs the world outside, which is not really outside. It is in the consciousness of Brahman or Atman. The world of objects also were present there. But the intermediary Andakarana was not illumined. So the world objects of which was there in the Brahman or Atman, it was not outside. It was, everything is in the Brahman or Atman. I am also Brahman or Atman. The moment it shined on the Andakarana, I became an individual and the world became the object outside for me. The best way to understand is that the entire dreamer and the dream world is present in the Andakarana. But the moment the dreamer started realizing it is independent, it started experiencing the dream world. It is similar. The waker became the independent waker and the world of objects, when I started experiencing, became a world of objects for me, not realizing that the world of objects and the waker, me, the Bindu, or each one of you, all of them are nothing but in the consciousness or awareness of Brahman. I am knowing myself also in consciousness. I am knowing the world of objects also in consciousness. One who relates, identifies, or brings all of them into unison of the consciousness or Brahman, Sayuktaha. He becomes the one, the yogi, the Yuktaha. Such a person is a Sukhi Naraha. He may remain as an individual. Naraha means human being. And he becomes a Sukhi. He is now in a state of happiness of the Atma or Brahman. The happiness is not the happiness of the enjoyment in the mind, but is in the happiness of being himself, the nature of his own nature, where there is nothing to separate for enjoyment. He becomes the happiness himself. So, sa yuktaha sa sukhi naraha is a statement that nara, that human being, is happiness. Sukhi naraha means he is not a happy person. He is himself the happiness. Therefore, he is a Sukhi naraha. So, having explained the verse, I will run through the words which I have already explained, but the main meaning will be clearer to you. So, the prosoder is Yaha iva eva sharire vimokshanat prak kama krodha vegam sodum shaknoti sa yuktaha sa sukhi naraha. He who right here before release of the body is able to withstand the impulse arising from desire and anger as understood in the intellect, that they are not separate from the Atman or Brahman. He is Yuktaha. He is the happy one. So can one withstand the surge of Kama and Krodha here in this very body before death? Krishna says yes. The one who can declare that he is integrated with the Atma or Brahman, and knowing that the Kama, Krodha are not reality but appearances due to the ignorance of seeing them as external to me. Once he gets integrated, Yuktaha, sa sukhi naraha. The word Shaknoti means possible here itself. Iha eva means in this world. The Jivan Mukti Krishna teaches is not an abstraction. It is tested and demonstrated in the present body against the most powerful forces of Prakriti. The word Sodum means is the capacity to meet the force of Kama and Krodha and not moved or, flown away in the force of that. This is a titiksha or a forbearance of the highest form. Not gritting one's teeth against the force to remain unmoved. But he is Sukhi Naraha. He is a happy person because he has grounded himself in the Brahman. The infinitive Sodum with Shaknoti is able to intuit the signals, that is the capacity, Shakti. It is not an achievement reached and then forgotten. The word Yuktaha has an ongoing stable capacity to withstand Kama, Krodha at any moment, not occasionally under the favorable conditions. He continues to live in this world till the body is dropped. Prak Sharira Vimokshanat, before the release of the body from the temporal specification. It makes the criterion precise, not after death and not in some other disembodied state or yoga or samadhi, but while still living in this body. Sharira is still present, the prarabdha karma is still running, the prana is operating, and he is very much in this world. But he knows the truth. This temporal phase is philosophically essential to a Jivan Mukta doctrine. Can one truly be Yukta while still embodied? The answer is yes. The criterion is precisely Prak Sharira Vimokshanat, the withstanding of the forces of Kama and Krodha in this very lifetime in which Jnana has arrived is the Jivan Mukta state. And Jivan Mukti is liberation while alive, not a state deferred Videha Mukti after death, going to some other loka and enjoying it. Krishna says, Kama Krodod Bhavam Vegam. The forces of Kama and Krodha before the born out of Kama and Krodha. The image is a powerful current of a swift flow of a river of Kama and Krodha that surges through the Andakarana. It is triggering all the time when you are in the world. One cannot be living without that. But in spite of the force of the Kama Krodha onslaught on us, one who has Saknoti Sodam, Vega, who has the power to know the difference between the reality and the forces of ignorance, he never experiences the surge. The prarabdha body continues to register Kama and Krodha and the vrittis of the Antakarana. But the one who has inner ground is established in the Brahman, Brahma Yoga Yuktatma. He is unswept by the current. It is the river bed that the current passes through without displacing the individual. Sayuktaha. He is the one who withstands the Kama Krodha Vega Iha Eva. In this very life, here and now itself. Not merely as a practitioner of yoga, yoga abhyasi, but a fully integrated one, yoga yukta. Culminating senses used throughout the chapter in 5, where the yukta word is used many times. Karma yoga yukta, vishishyate, yoga yukto munir, yoga yuktaha, in the verses 5:2, 5:6, 5:7, and 5:12, where he said, Yukta karma phalam tyaktva. He is a person who is fully arrived or fully established practitioner. He becomes Sasukhi Naraha. He is the happy one. He is not happy because the circumstances are pleasant. He encounters both Priya, Apriya, Kama, Krodha. But because his happiness, Sukha, is in Atmani, independent of samsparsha. unaffected by the vega of kama and krodha, samsparsha, which generates the vega. The double declaration, sa yuktaha sa sukhi, by Krishna is to indicate that there is no separation between yoga and sukha. He is a yuktaha, means he is established in the knowledge of Brahman. And he is the happy one, means his nature is happiness. He is happiness. He is not enjoying happiness, but he is a person emanating peace and happiness. And this double emphatic identification is to a single person whose figure has two different angles, but is a one integrated person. Ontologically, what he is the integrated, established of Brahmani Sthita. He is Sukhi because experientially he is Atmani Sukham. He is Asnute. He is pervading the happiness of the Atma Sukha. So the integration and the happiness, that is the Yukta and Sukhi, are not two separate achievements. They are two aspects of one condition. The Brahmani Sthiti is the Yukta Sukhi, because the integration in the Brahman is Akshaya Sukha. The Sukhi is Yuktaha, the reverse way, because his genuine happiness is not independent, is independent, not dependent upon samsparsha of the kama, krodha, or the objects which is worldly outside. And the word Naraha is to indicate that it is not a mythological figure or a person like Krishna, or who is an avatara, but about a human being living in this body, Sharira, encountering Kama and Krodha, and withstanding the force of Kama and Krodha, Hiha Eva, here itself, here and now. The Yukta Sukhi person is a real human possibility. The verse's entire force is that this condition is attainable here, in this very life, in this very body, before death, here and now. So the Kama, Krodha are the most proximate and powerful disruptors of the inner equanimity of us. They are the last forces of Prakriti that test a jnani's established Nishtha. The chapter has portrayed a Brahma with different conditions. Samadarshana, equal forces, across the social spectrum, he becomes a Pandita. Samadarshi. He is a Brahmavit. Samye Sthitam Manaha, the mental equanimity, which was explained in the 19th verse, is the Brahmanishta. And in the 20th verse, Priya Apriya, the pleasant and unpleasant, Nas Prahasyed na Udvijed, he is a Brahmatnyani. He is a Jnani or Brahmanishta. In the 21st verse, Bahya Sparsha, the sensory contact by the one outside, he become Asaktatma, but he finds Atmani Sukham. In the 22nd verse, Samsparshaja Bhoga, the sense pleasures as Dukkha Yoni, or the source of Dukkha. Narabade Buddha, the intelligent one do not engage in it. And in this verse, the Kama Krodha Vega, the surge of desire and anger, and one who is Sodam Saknoti, who is able to withstand that, Sayuktaha Sasukhi Naraha. He is a Yukta and is Atmavit. So the final, most demanding test in this sequence of Kama, Krodha in their surge of form the sudden powerful internally arising forces that can overwhelm the kama and krodha, even when advanced sadhaka is facing that. This verse declares that the one who withstands this here and now is definitely a Brahmanishta, Atma Yuktaha, Sukhi Naraha. So, an analogy of a deep-rooted tree in a storm. The branches and leaves move with the wind. The prarabdha antakarana registers these movements of the forces of the wind. But the root holds on Brahman, Brahmanishta, Brahmani Sthiti. Do not shift. Do not become a victim of the force. Sodum Shaknodi is able to withstand the forces. This is why the Yuktaha Sukhi, not because he never experiences Kama, Krodha, Vrittis in the world of Antakarana from the Prarabdha body which generates it, but because they do not dislodge him from his ground of his understanding, of his knowledge that he is Brahmani Sthiti. He is established, remains established in the Brahman. Therefore, the Sukham Akshayam, the imperishable happiness, remains undisturbed. This is the Advaitic resolution of an apparent paradox. If moksha is a videha mukti, liberation after death, what is the point of teaching for a living to the living? The answer from the Advaitin is that Jivan Mukti, liberation while living, is the very purpose of this teaching. Iha eva, here itself, the Yuktaha is already free. He doesn't have to wait for the body to fall dead. Yuktaha, integration is the happiness. That establishment in the Atma or Brahman. That is why it is called Sat Chit Ananda. It is the existence of this body, this person, in the Chit, in the Chaitanya or the Chit of the Atma. That is the happiness. That is the integration as a happiness of the actual ground of happiness of a yogi or a Brahma Yukta Muktatma. Who Asnude Sukham Akshayam is precisely the Sukhi Naraha. And this verse is taking us to the three verses which is following. So, next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Thursday, it is a continuation of the three verses where Brahma Nirvana is being the ultimate declaration of Krishna, which is running in verse number 24, 25 and 26. Sasukhi Naraha finds his happiness in that what is called the Brahma Nirvana. The person who is a Sukhi Nara and the absolute Brahma Nirvana are the one and the only reality. He is the Jivan Mukta's inner experience. And it is the metaphysical ground of experience which are non-different. We will see that three verses. I will read the three verses and explain the meaning, and then look at the individual words Krishna is using to specify this human being who has achieved the nirvana in the Brahman. He is dissolving himself in Brahman. He doesn't have a separate identity. He becomes one and the same as Brahman. That is where the Aham Brahmasmi experience becomes an experience for you, me, and everyone who has been able to culminate our individuality to merge with the Brahma with or the Nirvana of the Brahma Nirvana. We will see that verse on Tuesday. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavada.
Thank you very much, Binduji. I'm opening the chat and hand raising. If you have any questions or clarifications, please come up or put in the chat.
Pranam everyone.
Pradam Krutarth.
So you're telling me to look and see with equanimity in both oppressor and oppressed. So the question is, if everyone is already spiritually divine, so why to fight against any kind of injustice? And if, how to strike the corrupt system and still seeing you in the people so that the mind isn't poisoned by the hatred?
Krutarth. If you are seeing corruption, diversity and multiplicity, you have not understood or arrived at the knowledge what has been told by Krishna till now. That is why Krishna, when she mentioned that Kama Krodha Vega Sodum Shaknoti, if you can control or you will know what is desire, anger and all those things, from where it is coming from and why it is coming. If that is understood, then only you will know where you are or who you are. As you rightly asked, everybody is divine, but nobody knows that they are divine. And when they do not know they are divine, then there is all this multiplicity and all those differentiation what you see it. So, unless and until you see that in you and everywhere, which will be explained in the next 3 verses on next week, until that, this diversity will be a reality to you. And only if you can dissolve the diversity, we can say that everyone is divine. Until then, there is difference between you and me, or everyone, or the world outside. We'll see that in the next week. Pritha, please wait for that. Namaste, Venkat.
Namaste, Binduji. Binduji, two verses you covered were pretty solid and connected. That verse 22, that Samparshaja Bhoga, that whole sensual connection, that result in that duality, the Kayoni. They are always temporary. They have an end. And one who's, the knowledge is given, one who knows will not get indulged in it. That was the knowledge given. And the application of the knowledge happened in the verse 23.
Yes.
And now that you know it, now you are able to apply it, avoiding that very nature of, that's a wiring happened due to the nature of creation. Indulgence is the design, otherwise the creation stops. So that the yoga yukta is now being, that's a, with the buddhi, maybe it's called buddhi yoga for reason this, that knowledge is given now, apply it. Hence leading to that, the yoga yukta. That real yoga is now defined here, right, Binduji? That yoga of Bhagavad Gita, that buddhi yoga is now
Yes.
defined. Now I'm comparing that with the yogic practices I've been through. While it is not done through the buddhi, the gnana given to buddhi, it is done through not involving buddhi, using various yogic methods. The mind is taken out of the context, leaving the tranquil self. So that is the other dimension taken, but it will come back because of the nature of the buddhi, pervade backwards. Again, it will get into activities of the world again. It get indulged. There are two yogas here. One yoga that happened by suppressing everything, and the yoga now here, which is long-term, I think full-term solution with buddhi.
Right.
So this yoga now, how do we define yoga here? The yoga in these two ways, because the yogi I sort of followed to this path last year, they have this drushti srishti.
Yes.
The samadarshina, the darshana, they use it as drushti srishti. While that ajata and all that, what is the difference between these two in context, right? Drushti srishti and ajata of Shankara. Taking this context, how do you see these two drushti?
See, what we have to understand is that the yogic method of drishti srishti is a practice for the yogi to seclude him or protect him with the yogic practices so that he is able to turn inward using that jnana yoga later. Because the karma of the yogi for doing the sriti to ward off attraction by the senses, that is where the yoga and the meditation, etc. will be coming. The Patanjali's yoga, what I would call it as a Patanjali yoga, will be helpful for a practitioner to control his senses by restraining them. But restriction is like tying a cow or a horse with a rope to a pole. The moment you let them off, they will wander again. But wandering mind to turn inward and to understand where it has to go for the eternal grazing, where he doesn't have to graze at all, because that satisfaction, sukham akshayam sukham asnuti, that permanent imperishable happiness is within oneself and not in the world outside. The grazing outside happens because it thinks the happiness lies in the world of objects. Therefore, the yoga teaches how to withdraw from that, but that doesn't complete by itself. That yoga has to further mature into find out where is the permanent happiness of the yoga lying in. That is what Krishna has been teaching, saying that is the Brahmi Sthiti or Atmani Sukham, which is he is advising. The happiness in the Atma or Brahman. once that is tasted or once that is known, the dichotomy of that I am separate from the Sukham dissolves, and I become myself the happiness. And therefore, for me to go for a happiness searching world outside is futile, and I don't have to look for that.
Yes. Binduji, can you
Yeah,
hear me, Binduji? So,
yeah, I can hear you.
so this one, when I observed deeply, the Drushti Srushti, because I have this yoga Drushti is such, they reconfigure what is around, they drop their archetypes, whatever their personality types, and they have a Drushti which is beyond individual. But yet the world is real. They take world real. This yogi, as he is keep reincarnating because it took us to all his prior places. And he has a vision of, simply teach yoga again and again and again. He keep coming back.
Right.
And that is a worry, that there is no like
Where
mukti per se.
do you go further from there?
He just keep doing it.
Yes.
That is his motto. So,
no, he finds happiness in doing that. That is his happiness. Yeah. But he doesn't know it is not a permanent happiness, because that yoga, the moment he stops it, the world and the problems of the world will haunt him.
Yeah. Because it took us to that one, Garbhagruham, where that lingam is not yet established. And one fine day he called, okay, come in this month, a certain morning to that place. Then he went and established it. That means it is waiting for him to do it. And he's consciously doing it.
Yes.
The Drushti Srushti is so real. While the yoga here, that Buddhi yoga is very uniquely told. That it's a path that is, while awake, do it.
Yes.
Okay, so this is unique, Binduji. I think this is sort of gives a very good contrast to compare different paths.
Yes.
But Ajata is sometime when you get time, explain that Ajata Vada also.
I'll do that.
Yeah, that's
it will come. It is coming later, much later. When you go to 13th chapter, it will come. The Ajata Vada will come.
Sure, Binduji. We'll wait for this.
In a different way, they call it a Kshetrajnaya Jnanam. But I'll explain to you at that time what is the Ajada. The Kshetra itself is Ajada at that time.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste, Revati.
Namaste. I understood it as the answering verse for what will happen to Jnani after the Jnana in the projection, in the waking. That Kama Krododbhavam Vekam Utsahate Prasahate. He doesn't enjoy in those wave of Kama Krodha. He have to endure that.
It is not enduring.
Yes.
See, no, when you know they are. It is just like if you know when it is a mirage, you don't run for the water. Or when you know the post which you have been thinking as a ghost is now known as a post, is no more going to threaten you as a ghost. Right? So that way, the Kama and Krodha, which were seen as outcomes when I thought the world is outside me, that is now no more outside me. It is all within myself, which is consciousness or awareness. And I am not the individual anymore to have that the world outside and I am. The idanta, which is that aham and idam. Aham means I. Idam means everything else other than me. So the ahanta and idanta, both is now become one with Brahmatjnana, that it's all Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. So when it is that, in the Brahmi sthiti, there is no ahanta and idanta. That is, both have become one and the same. Therefore, the kama and krodha cannot arise. It is not that they are not arising for the sense organs and the body. But I am not the sense organs and the body. If they are objects for me, I am seeing the body, my body as an object. I am seeing my mind as an object. I am seeing my indriyas are objects. My objects of indriyas are also objects. So all of them are not me in the sense as the jiva. But as a Brahman, as Atma, they are all me only, because they are all consciousness, nothing but consciousness. So though knowledge of both were the avidya, you start knowing what is avidya. It is not that avidya is now controlling you. When you know avidya, it cannot control you anymore. You know that, a dream is a dream. A dream is no more a dream for you to get affected by that. It is like that.
Yes. Yes, Binduji. Thank you, Binduji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reva. Prakash, can we wind up this week?
Yes. Thank you very much for your participation, everyone. We will continue on chapter 5 on next week, Tuesday at 6:30 a.m. IST. So it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So in the meantime, we are still having rooms for chapter 3, and now we are into chapter 4 at the regular time slot, 8:30 p.m. IST, where Yash is using a clone, and we are having those rooms replayed. And Sundays, we have the Advaita open discussion. Bindoji won't be present, but it is for us to maintain the decorum and have a conversation or clarifications on Advaita. And as always, thank you, Bindoji, for offering us this program. And over to you to close the room.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Atmisha, Kritarth, Venkat, and Revati for the participation in the panel. And Patrick, and I think it is no one. Okay. All of you, those who have been listening and not there now, thank you all for being there. And the Sunday question answer session, Prakash, make sure that Venkat or Srini is also present in the panel so that, that answers can be specific to Advaita.
Sure.
And
Certainly.
the other questions you don't have to entertain.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you. Hari Om. See you next week.
Hari Om.